As generations grow up and society moves forward, customer expectations, needs, wants, demands, they're all evolving too. Does then this idea of hyperautomation align with the current trends of customer experience? In essence, how can this kind of digital transformation improve customer satisfaction?
I think one of the biggest impacts which we have to take into consideration, and you can see this in many industries, but also process and service, or basically everywhere, we have to take the consumer and the user experience way more into consideration. So having really the outside view on my services and not the inside. What does this mean? Who cares? I mean, which customer cares how many cost centers are touched by a certain business case, for instance? The customer does really not care. They want to have a service, a good or whatever. That's what you really have to center, and not just using this as a headline. You really have to get this into the culture. And I think that's why we are here in terms of really enabling and questioning, like, where is the benefit for the customer? Where is the input or the impact on the end result? Are we now faster, cheaper, better? I don't. Is there actually a real effect on the customer, or is it just because we are used to this kind of an approach? There is the bigger leverage in the transformation. And this is then basically driving you all the way also for the future benefits or requirements or services by constantly challenging the things. Because if you take user or customer experience really up, then you know your service or good is never finished. You have to constantly work on it and challenge the things, and also look outside of your industry and look what others are doing. Simply have a look in who is doing the smartest invoicing process. I don't care if it's the smartest invoicing process at the moment in the retail part or automotive. I care in where is the best thing. And that's something I want to apply. And I think that's something which is keeping you basically on top of by constantly challenging and changing yourself by closely listen to the customers and users. I think the challenging part is there to hear the right things from the user and customers. I'm not sure if I'm quoting correctly Steve Jobs, where he said, my customers don't even know what they're doing, because otherwise I wouldn't have done the iPhone or iPod. I'm not 100% sure.
Is the iPhone?
But it was not there beforehand. So how could they tell me that they want it? But for the constant change and for the further development of your services and goods and services, I think that's definitely a necessity.
Just looking at what you do, Andreas, and the challenges that you must have. Okay. And one of the biggest challenges I can think of is acquiring all this data, but also you are working across so many different departments. You know, you're touching, but for my understanding, and I think it stop me again if I'm wrong, so you're touching data in from sales side, from accounting side, from inquiry side. How do you go about acquiring this information and dealing with managing different parts of the business? Surely there must be some guarded people, or not necessarily people, but departments.
No, not really, because I don't care about because I don't care about data.
Okay.
If we are talking about really new services or new approaches, there is no data for it, because we are talking about how do we want to work in the future. So I'm starting at the really high level and with many talks and trying to understand and discuss possible ways of working. What is the end result? Is this really the expected end result? Is this the end result, or is this just the end result you see? But is this really what the customer is getting? Because there are limitations to departments, for instance, where they see where is the real end-to-end process. If we are talking about the future concept of things, there is not really much data you can already use. Yes, at some point, if you know where you want to go, then you can really zoom in on the existing data. Is it already supporting? Is it helping? Necessary to build a business case for it? At least there where I'm starting, there is no real data to base my decisions or the things on. So it's highly communicative, getting to the people, talking with them, and at the same time explaining and showcasing how technology could work. I'm not saying that I know your business process, this is how you have to use it, but I'm trying to at least find use case close to them by just starting their ideas, or a little jump start, at least that they can get to possible ideas to understand where could I use it. Because once again, we have to get the technology into the business areas and also understanding how or where can we apply it. And this is not written in the user manual. This is helping for developers. This is helping for actual users. But if someone is at the very beginning, not even knowing what the thing is about and where can it help me and what's a possible use case, that's something where we have to be a little bit creative to really jump into the things and getting the hands dirty. That's then the fun, because then you can talk with the people and then you get them basically into the concept or not.
We have covered how hyperautomation can greatly improve the employee experience by reducing working time, making processes more efficient, etc. And that's all great, but it's largely involved in the internal side of things. But let's link it back to CX. What tangible real-world benefits can hyperautomation bring to customers' lives and therefore improve their experiences with your company?
I think that we are starting with the customer experience in terms of end result, at least in our point of view. This does not necessarily mean always external customer. This could also be an internal one, but nevertheless, we always have to, first of all, figure out what is the end result? Is this the expected end result? And challenging this constantly. And with a hyper automation approach, it's really easy to redevelop stuff to make it more agile. I'm undervaluing hyper automation if I'm saying this has more like a pilot or mock-up-ish approach. But at the end, from my point of view, exactly that's it. If you're talking about all the stuff, low code, no code, AI, GPT, I don't know. Basically, those are technologies helping you in building stuff pretty fast. Not necessarily reliable, but fast. So you can give it a try and you can get through A/B testing then and stuff like that to understand I'm on the right track. Once you know it, then you can develop those things. It's really getting the customer feedback, also their expectations, and at the same time having the data, for instance, with A/B testing on processes or different workflows to understand, are they really using new features? Are they actually hitting a button without a function by showing you, look, there is no function right now, but it will be there soon, but at least you can count the clicks on the button. And then you see, would they really use the function before even building the function? Once again, I think from my point of view, hyper automation has exactly this kind of a playground approach. Again, I don't want to undervalue it. I think this is the best thing you can have. At the same time, that's a challenge for companies which rely on sustainable business processes. They are not really used to having this kind of a playing ground for processes. But I think this is one of the highest flexibilities and possibilities we're having here with various technologies. And at the same time, technologies are no limitation anymore. You can interface everything with everyone if you want to, and if you have the approval, but that's another point. Basically, there is no technical limitation.
Great. So the sky's the limit.
Yeah, if you can dream it, you can build it. There is really no, or I can't think of any use case I could not do within a hyper automation approach. This is a great way, at least, to pilot the stuff.
And what is your vision, Andreas? That end goal. What is the future that you're trying to bring to life?
To be honest, if I would say there is an end goal, I would be lying. It's really the big thing that I just want to free up as much unqualified working time by having quality time, because time is really one of the highest appreciated goods, but undervalued from my point of view. But this is what I'm really thinking about. This does not mean I want to get rid of all the workforce. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. But if you're talking about a vision or some possible end scenario, this is really it. So all stupid processes are really where they belong or where they should be running, and that's inside the machine and not in front.
Great. That's a quote there.
It is.